are our elections fair? Now, there's massive speculation, not just on one side, but as you just saw on both sides, about that question. Are they fair? So there's only really one person we're aware of who has approached this from the perspective of science. This is something that maybe to some extent can be measured, and Dr. Robert Epstein has been measuring it.
I'm not a conservative, I should make that very clear. Private companies, one in particular, have this enormous power that people are generally unaware of to impact our thinking, our behavior, our children, and the outcome of elections on a massive scale.
It sounds like from a liberal perspective, you don't think, as you just said, I think I'm quoting you, that private companies ought to have the ability to determine election outcomes because that's a threat by definition to democracy.
Well, in effect, what I'm doing is I'm saying that I value democracy and our country much more than I value any particular party or candidate.
Yes,
and I think everyone should think that way. We had 1,735 field agents in 4 swing states. So we're monitoring what people are seeing on the screen using 1,735 computers owned by real voters. I was nauseated, really, that our data were telling us that this election was in the hands of private companies, Google in particular, that they can use content that's ephemeral, like search results, news feeds, search suggestions, those little answer boxes that you see. That's all ephemeral content, which just disappears and it's not stored anywhere, right? It's never captured. So they know that they can use that to shift people's thinking and behavior, and they do it deliberately. But we found also overwhelming bias on YouTube. 93% of the videos that up next algorithm, that up next is recommending, 93% of those recommendations that were going to liberals, moderates, and conservatives came from liberal news sources. 93%. But what's happening with these companies is completely different. We've never faced this before in history, never. Because what's happening with these companies is happening on a massive scale. It's invisible to people, and it's not competitive. You can't counteract it. If you want to support a candidate and you put up a billboard, I can support the other candidate and put up my own billboard. You want to buy a TV commercial? I can buy a TV commercial. I can buy 2. But if Google wants to support a candidate, there's nothing you can do. You cannot counteract that kind of influence because they control the platform. They determine the order of search results. They determine what content they're going to show you and what content they're going to suppress. I'm wearing a flag here because I love America. Democracy is a flawed system of government for sure, but it beats all the other ones hands down.
That's for sure.
And I don't like, what I have learned is that the democracy that we think we have doesn't exist anymore. It does not exist anymore. And I'll tell you, Dwight D. Eisenhower, that famous speech he gave just a few days before Kennedy became president in 1961.
On the military-industrial complex.
Military-industrial complex. That's what everyone remembers. But
right.
If you go back and read it, he's warning about the rise of not just a military-industrial complex, but the rise of a technological elite. His term, a technological elite that can control public policy without us knowing.
Tax-deductible donation of $25 a month. It's critically important. We're the only team in the world, the only research team in the world that's doing this kind of work, that's measuring these manipulations, that's capturing all this ephemeral content, this very dangerous content that's being used to manipulate billions of people around the world. We cannot do our work without your help. So please, please help us.